Hey everyone, What If Fan here, bringing you another exciting part of What If Becoming a Mangaka in One Piece World. You can find the fanfic title and the original author's name on my Patreon page. Make sure to check it out and show them some love. If you enjoy the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell so you never miss an upload. Quick update. The series What If Ichigo awoke his true powers to save his mother is now on hold, since we've caught up with the author. So now, I need your help picking the next project for the channel. I'm currently deciding between these three fanfics. What if Transmigrated into a nightmare mode Dragon Ball world? What if Reborn in Highschool DxD as a Lucifuge? What if Fishing System in Food Wars world? Please vote in the poll and let me know which story you'd like to see next. I'll take the top pick and start working on that series next. Also check out my Patreon channel for early releases of all the series, where you can find all the series released one day ahead of YouTube. Alright, let's jump into it. Chapter 421, 10 Tons Mallet? One Piece Events. You may be scared of roaches, but you have more to fear from me. Girl, you have seriously underestimated me. Usopp took out a massive 10-ton mallet and began wielding it with ease. Usopp was truly fearsome at that moment. Back in the East Blue, no one is more feared for my superhuman strength. Perona's face was filled with even more fear after seeing the huge mallet. 10 tons? Oh no! Where did you get all that strength? Stop it! I can't even run away. Usopp started to raise the mallet, ready to crush the frightened Perona. You'll kill me. I'm begging you to drop the mallet, and the roaches too, while you're at it. Usopp was not moved by her pleas for mercy. So, Goldine, pound. As she saw death approaching, Perona pleaded for mercy more and more. I promise I won't hurt your friends, so, please. Forgive me. Please. Stop. No. Usopp swung the heavy mallet with immense force onto her body until it exploded. Finally, Perona lost consciousness with wide eyes, and foam escaped from her mouth. Usopp said, "You'd think the mistress of a haunted mansion could tell the difference between an actual mallet and one made to look like a balloon. The same goes for the plastic roaches." Oh well. Let me just say this, you had no idea who you were messing with when you came at me with negativity and lies as weapons. Sleep tight, I'll see you tomorrow. Mwahaha. Usopp left laughing after defeating one of the mysterious four from the Thriller Bark Pirates. Thriller Bark Island. Inside the art store. The damn bastard. The long-nosed one. The purple veins appeared on Moria's forehead while he was reading this chapter. At first, he was happy to see the extraordinary skills of the Hollow's fruit user in his crew, and he even found himself laughing with joy. He also felt happy when he saw the long-nosed one getting beaten by a single member of his crew. However, after that, he felt intense anger upon seeing the situation change. Fuck. Previously Absalom and now Perona. The loss of Perona in such a shameful way made Moria very angry, especially after seeing the mocking tweets and insulting comments about this hilarious battle on the global forum. This is extremely disgusting. How can a coward like that liar join to a crew like the Straw Hat Pirates? Why did they not just abandon him in Water 7? Damn it. Moria could not do anything but curse. These were events on paper after everything. He had not yet recruited any of the three members of his crew, so they were still strangers. But for some reason, the more he read the manga, the more he felt empathy towards Absalom, Perona, and Hogback. He really wanted to search for them and incorporate them into his new crew as soon as possible, not only for their abilities but also because he felt they were his nakama. Perona looks very young. Could she have been born even in this world? Well, I'll search for Hogback and Absalom first. It won't be hard to find a famous surgeon like Hogback. Kishishishi, there is no doubt that they will also love joining me in the real life. Syrup Town, at the art store. Ha ha ha. As expected from the legendary Captain Usopp. Ha ha ha. I was taken aback for a moment when I saw him carrying a 10-ton mallet until I remembered that Usopp was the one carrying it. Ha ha ha. The same goes for me. He almost tricked me too. Poor Perona. I really feel sympathy toward her. She doesn't seem like an evil character to me. No. She seriously tried to kill him in her last attack. If it wasn't for the impact dial that absorbed the impact from that massive hollow explosion, it will turn Usopp into a blood mist. Ah. I forgot about that, so she deserves what happened to her. As she heard these comments from the readers, Banshina nodded her head protectively. She has already read the chapters about Usopp and Perona's battle and understood the situation well. Her son did nothing wrong. Even though he didn't treat Perona very well. But she hit him very hard. This is my son, she smiled on her face, and Banshina continued to serve drinks to the customers. Your son's intelligence in battle is very high, only lacking real strength, Beckman said as he smoked a cigarette. Despite that, he still lacks experience. Ha 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 ha. But his way of defeating Perona was extremely funny. Usopp laughed before returning to read the rest of the chapter. Anyway, the first member of the Thriller Bark pirate crew has fallen, and the most dangerous of them. As we have seen before, Luffy and the others have no chance of resisting Perona. Beckman stopped before continuing. Usopp is also a very effective marksman in this arc, just like in the previous arc. Usopp responded, I'm very pleased. Maragoa. Is the battle between Zoro and Ryuma still ongoing? It seems that Zoro is suffering. Well, the battle of the swordsmen is being influenced by minor details at lower levels. If Zoro was facing the real Ryuma, he would have died before realizing what was happening. Yes, everything has been forgotten, including the comparison of Ryuma to Joy Boy carelessly. If the world forgets that, we, who controls history, will never forget it. Saturn. Both Wano's sword god and Joy Boy are already powerful, but the strongest enemy of them all, and the one that is incomprehensible, is Sky Sword. Remember this well. The Gorosei with the hat named St. J. Garcia Saturn nodded after hearing what the bald Gorosei said. Chapter 422, Pirate Zoro vs. Samurai Ryuma. Wow, what a truly remarkable battle. The defeat of Ryuma's corpse by Zoro is a remarkable feat that showcases his prowess in combat. I must admit, while I had faith in Zoro's victory, I did not anticipate the sheer ferocity and tenacity he displayed in battle. He truly embodied the spirit of a dragon, reminding us of the legendary battle that Ryuma was famous for. I am curious to see the reaction of the samurais in Wano to this outcome. I wonder what they will have to say about it. The samurai Gorosei pondered, as he absent-mindedly rubbed his glasses. For the five elders, this chapter was a source of great joy. They reveled in the sight of the emblem of the disobedient country being disregarded and defeated once again. After all, this was not the first time that the sword god had fallen. He lost in the past at the hands of the world government. In a cold and lonely hall, Imu sat on her throne, flipping through the pages of the most mysterious book in history. With a smirk, she muttered, hee hee. The successor has defeated his ancestor's corpse? How intriguing. Imu continued to read the manga until she reached the scene where Ryuma passed on his sword to Zoro. And now, the inheritance of will and weapon as well. It's such a ridiculous plot armor. I wonder, when he reaches Wano, will the sword be taken from him and be dishonored? Foo. One Piece events. After a short but destructive battle against Ryuma, Zoro jumps to the top of the building, ready to unleash his final attack, Ituryu. Hiryu. Kane. At this moment, Zoro resembles a dragon in legend. He's ready to crush the real dragon's corpse, but he can't do the same thing when he's alive. Sensing the danger, Ryuma also jumps to counter the attack, Hanayuta. Sancho. Yahazuji. Ryuma realized that he was the one who lost the last confrontation, Wag. The wound is aflame? I lost. Zoro focuses his eyes on the sword in Ryuma's hand, the Meitu once carried by a legendary samurai. As Zoro said that, Ryuma replied, Shusui. With you as its master, this sword, too, should be satisfied. Frankie wondered, what was he saying just now? That's samurai. Exactly. What's going on? Brooke responded to his question, basically. It would appear that it's over. This fight. I have never seen anything like it. That samurai. When he fought me. He was barely even trying. Suddenly, Ryuma dropped his sword towards Zoro. This was a great duel. I have allowed this samurai's body to suffer defeat. I am ashamed. After catching the sword, Zoro replied, as long as you are ashamed, that's enough. You are a swordsman in mind and body. I would have liked to meet you when you were still alive. These were the last words Ryuma heard before Brooke left his burning body. The black shadow disappeared and Brooke returned to its former owner. Ah. It's by Awoke. My shadow. It's back. Zoro looked at the scattered ashes of Ryuma before murmuring with a smile, I'll take your sword, but let's pretend this duel never happened. Samurai of the country of Wano. Wano country, flower capital. The Hawkeye of Mihawk was depicted seriously in the manga pages before he handed over his hat to Isho. Exactly as you expected, Zoro obtained Shusui flawlessly. Ho, a soft smile appeared on Isho's face after hearing this. And he continued, the battle was truly an eye-opener. It seems the level of power in the story is starting to rise to new heights. Isho looked around and realized that the residents of Wano, including the samurais, were murmuring with their hands over their mouths, as if they were disbelieving, disillusioned, happy, and worried at the same time. Their emotions were complex, to say the least. Even the shogun himself had this type of expression that he hid behind his mask. Shogun-san. What is your opinion? Isho asked Kazuki Sukiyaki, who was still by their side. Sigh. Sukiyaki sighed before continuing, the battle between Ryuma Dano and Zoro Dano was highly impressive. As samurai, we respect the laws of the sword before respecting the person carrying it, even if that person is the national protector, Shimatsuki Ryuma himself. In this battle, Ryuma lost as a corpse, but he won by reviving his reputation as a hero. Sukiyaki removed his mask and wiped away his tears in a stunning motion. Isho and Mihawk were not shocked, because at that moment, everyone inside and outside the art store, without exception, was crying. Any random person who dropped their eyes on, had red eyes and wiped away their tears, and snot continuously. Even there were some who wept loudly. This, in short, showed the size of the love that the people of Wano had for a man who had died many years ago, but whose memory had never died. Isho smiled when he remembered a stirring sentence. When does a man truly die? A man dies when people forget him, Mihawk replied with a rare smile on his face. Hearing this, Sukiyaki and a few members of the shogun's protection force and nearby capital residents were surprised. Soon, these words echoed throughout the capital of Flower and all corners of Wano country later on. As long as they do not forget their pride in their sword god, he will never die. Impel down. Magellan, cease your vexing behavior. The manga is at its most thrilling juncture. Shiryu was incensed with Magellan, who was demanding that he fulfill his duties during his downtime. He was absorbed in the scuffle between Zoro and Ryuma, which culminated in Zoro's triumph, and his acquisition of Maito's sword, as well as Brooke reclaiming his shadow. However, Magellan's intrusion had irked him. You can complete your manga reading later. The sixth floor's forbidden frozen prison is empty. There's no one encased in the ice. Magellan exclaimed. What? Was anyone actually imprisoned there? Shiryu was taken aback. After I assumed the leadership of Impel Down, I obtained information about the prisoners. Yes, the individual who was confined there was none other than the infamous Brindy World. Magellan exclaimed again. Chapter 423, The Innately Evil Hogback. West Blue, Elysia Kingdom. Wha? The sound of a young girl's lamenting could be heard as if her soul was crying and not just her eyes. Sindri-chan. My child dash. The parents gazed at this scene with hearts that quivered and tearful eyes. After reading the last chapter, they were deeply affected. They didn't expect the tragedy of their child to be so complicated. The price of pursuing dreams in this world is extremely high for ordinary people. This is what they have realized. Both the father and mother tried to comfort their daughter, but their efforts were all in vain. However, at this moment, many residents of the Elysia kingdom began to applaud and shout their great love for Sindri, including the king of the kingdom, Thalassalucas. Amazing, overcoming the curse of the devil fruit with just willpower, you will become an amazing woman, Sindri-chan. That evil dog, Hogback, with a heart full of evil from the beginning, it seems he will come to Elysia at some stage. If I see him, I'll beat him until his mother wouldn't recognize him again. Calm down, my friend, I'll crush his balls so he won't think of love again. Oh, this is more fierce. The applause and encouragement for Sindri and the curses against Hogback continued from all directions. Sindri stopped crying and heard all of this. She felt a great happiness that gradually filled her heart and washed away all her sadness. Suddenly, a big smile appeared on her small face. I am very happy. One Piece events. Well. Lick the floor, Sindri. Hogback gave a cruel command. Sindri replied obediently, yes, Hogback-sama. As Hogback watched her lick the floor, he laughed, Fosh fosh, the zombies are loyal only to their commands. Even the usually rebellious Sindri-chan is like that. Chopper's eyes widened after seeing this. Hogback began to speak, you have seen that room, Dr. Chopper. That is my room. Those pictures are of Victoria Sindri, who was a stage actress while she was alive. He continued, I was charmed by her for a long time. Her beauty fascinated not only me but all the men in the country. She was popular but didn't indulge in her fame. She was kind to everyone, not just her family. Such a good woman. But that woman. I, who had everything as a doctor, had my marriage proposal refused. She said she had a fiancé. It was an anguish that cannot be put into words. I eventually left my job. At that time, the man who appeared in front of me was my master, Gecko Moria. I boarded that ship under one condition: with that miraculous ability, he must bring Sindri back to life. By stealing her corpse, I easily obtained an obedient Sindri. I didn't care about the character of the girl who had rejected me. If only I had her beauty. This is the zombie Sindri-chan. I'm happy, and I'm sure she must be too, since she can once again live as a human in this world. After hearing all this, Chopper shouted in outrage, you are just creating monsters. For every zombie you make, you leave a human in misery. Because of that, I can't allow you to do this. After his struggle with Sindri, whom Hogback had strengthened, Chopper couldn't express his pity for her as she was already dead and just a moving corpse. Hogback laughed at Chopper's claims, you doubt your eyes. Acknowledge it. This is mankind's eternal dream. Rebirth of the deceased. Humans can be revived. Chopper scowled at Hogback before shouting, is it okay that they can only move? Humans have more freedom. You are the one who isn't treating them as humans. Sindri. Buy me some time. I'll run away. After being deceived by Robin, who led him to the orders of Jigoro and the zombie Absalom to throw themselves from the upper floor, Hogback decided to escape and rely on Sindri to buy him some time, but he was surprised by the unresponsiveness of his obedient zombie. Why aren't you replying? Rest assured, I'll just give you another shadow if they beat you. Chopper! Exclamation point. Robin. Cindy answered and tears rolled down her cheeks weirdly. My body won't move. After reading the last scene, the father Victor and his wife and daughter could not control their emotions. The father wept in silence while the mother hugged her daughter and cried out loud, making the scene highly emotional. Even the people inside the art store were deeply affected by this great scene, which was a perfect illustration of issues and important messages for humanity. Most of the readers understood these messages, no matter how simple they were. They already realized the key point. A person who doesn't have the freedom to make decisions for himself is not a human being in the truest sense. That is why the majority of the people who were affected by this chapter were the slaves, or at least those slaves who were given the opportunity to read this chapter. For the zombies who were simply the result of a devil fruit's power, they were not human in the first place. Only a crazy and obsessed person like Hogback could try to deceive people with his own understanding of being alive. Sindri-chan, don't worry, my dear, everything won't be as it's supposed to be from now on. You got a good brother. West Blue, Ballywood Kingdom. Why are you sweating profusely, Hogobakyo? Koreha pressed the word Hogback with a malicious tone as if confirming her violent anger. I am not sweating, it's just, ugh, the atmosphere has become hotter for some reason. Hirolik glared at Hogback with upset eyes. And I was going to bring you onto my exploration team, someone like you doesn't even deserve to breathe the same air as humans. Hirolik's evaluation of Hogback dropped below zero, now only realizing how mistaken he was in his previous judgment. Now, the struggle to understand the previous words of Rob. The good doctor may not necessarily be good. This was what Rob said when they weren't even done reading the volume and asked him for information about the location of Hogback. When you are considering not human from a speaking reindeer, that is the highest degree of insignificance. Hogbackyo, as expected, you need rehabilitation, a naturally evil person like you doesn't deserve mercy. Suddenly, dozens of hunters wearing official uniforms resembling police uniforms appeared and seized Hogback, tying him up before taking him away. The people inside the art store were frightened when the hunters of the system disappeared in the personal section. Korea took another sip of the sake and noticed the disappearance of the law enforcement hunters and Hogback's screams. The air became cleaner after he left. Chapter 424, Deal with Kaido. New World, Merville Flying Island. What's your opinion, Kaido? Rob leaned back in his chair, looking at the two massive men who were gazing at him with wide eyes as if they hadn't yet understood the reason for his appearance here. Do you want to kill me? Kaido asked as he rubbed the horizontal scar on his back. Every time he saw this man, Kaido felt a tremendous pain in his wound. After hearing this, Rob raised his eyebrow in surprise. He didn't understand how this man had reached this conclusion. Why do you think I'm here to kill you? Rob asked with interest. Shiki listened from the side with a calm facade, but inside he was shaking and thinking of a way to escape the whole time. You told me that you want to adopt my daughter. This means that you want to kill her father so that you can be the sole father, isn't that so? Kaido was ready to defend himself using his armament haki from any sudden attack. He wasn't afraid of death, he was afraid of leaving this world without leaving a lasting impression. At least he wanted to see the extent of his bravery in the world of manga where there is no sky sword before he died. Ha ha. Rob laughed in front of the agitated men. He could understand that. He had suddenly appeared in front of them without any warning after everything. It seems that you have a wrong impression, whether you're alive or dead, it doesn't matter. The important thing is to get your agreement to adopt your daughter. I came to make a deal with you for this reason. Kaido was surprised after hearing it. A deal? What kind of deal? I have something good planned to reveal to the world soon. Only the people I choose will have the opportunity to participate and reap some benefits for themselves. If I am entrusted with your daughter Yamato, I will make sure to leave a seat for you. Don't ask me for details, you will find out soon enough. Something good. Kaido and Shiki's eyes widened upon hearing Rob's words. For someone, the size of Sky Sword who represents the pinnacle of strength in this world, a level stronger than the mightiest emperors and great pirates, to describe something as good, won't be simple by any means. I agree, I'll entrust Yamato to you in exchange for the opportunity you're talking about. Kaido didn't hesitate to accept Rob's offer. He would have accepted it no matter what, even if the deal only involved Rob leaving without battling him. Not to mention, Yamato currently had no use for him, so it was best to give her to Rob in exchange for the opportunity to participate in this something good. Wise decision. Rob smiled with satisfaction upon hearing that. He didn't plan to use threats to take the child away from her father, no matter how rough and lacking in empathy the father was. He was still her legal father, so it was best to choose peaceful solutions. Moreover, he didn't come here personally, he was just a paper clone. If he fought with Kaido, he would easily lose. Kaido didn't need to know that he was just a clone in any case, his name alone was enough to bring fear to Kaido and others. Well, I see you formed an alliance with the Golden Lion. Rob shifted his gaze from Kaido to the Golden Lion Shiki, making the latter more tense. Interesting. I see the art store is a big lure for you, enough to bring Kaido over to your side, Shiki. Shiki smiled broadly, tapping his head, jihahaha. Yes, even now I don't know why you opened an art store on my island. At first, I considered it an apology gesture for your visit that day, but later I discovered that it was part of your power, so it could be a way to spy on me. After all, I discovered that you're strong enough to defeat 3 of me, so I don't understand now the reason for giving me such a huge gift. Is it really just a commercial goal? Shiki raised all the confusion he had been harboring until now, even though it was painful for his pride, and acknowledged the power of the other party. He also wanted to steer Rob's attention away from the issue of his alliance with Kaido because it was not a minor matter. Oh, there's no need to think much, everyone knows I'm just a trader who opens an art store on any island I visit. Kaido's eyes widened upon hearing that, and he asked with a smile, this means you opened one on my island below? Since he was just a clone, he was unable to open a store on the original Kaido's island. My feet haven't touched your island yet, I'll think about this later. Rob ended the discussion before standing up and preparing to leave. However, before that, a piece of paper and a pen appeared in his hand. He quickly wrote and the same paper and pen appeared in front of Kaido. This is a custody transfer document, you just have to sign it to confirm the matter. Okay, Kaido did not hesitate to sign it. He couldn't use the pen because of the thickness of his fingers, so he used his blood to sign instead and returned it to Rob. I'm impressed with your design, so I don't mind giving you a simple warning before I go. The remains of the Rocks crew are a big threat to the world government, which recently uncovered its main controller and the destructive power in its hand represented by the ancient weapon. If the world government finds out about the alliance of 2 members of the Rocks crew remains, they will surely move against you. Rob left these words before disappearing at the end of the aisle, leaving Kaido and Shiki drowning in their thoughts. You handed over your daughter so easily, you have no empathy, jihahaha. I wonder if the famous Sky Sword wants to imitate Newgate in raising children, jihahaha. If getting rid of one daughter for a chance from this man, I would do so with pleasure. TSK, what a cold heart you have, Shiki commented. Kaido didn't think much about it, Yamato born was just an incident at first. It wasn't easy for the Oni to conceive children, but on that day, he had exhausted one of his concubines so much that he impregnated her by mistake and Yamato came into this world. He planned to make her a high-level member of his crew since she was his daughter and was bound to inherit his strength. That wasn't a bad thing, so he separated her from her mother and placed her in a remote place away from society to educate her in the way he desired. Well, this wasn't completed in any case, so it didn't matter anymore. What's important is to finish reading One Piece volume. Oh, it looks like the old era Devilors committed a massacre in the Straw Hat crew, Warororo. Kaido and Shiki both grabbed the One Piece volumes once again, and the tension brought by Rob's arrival disappeared from their hearts. One Piece events. Oars, the huge giant, stood amidst the wreckage, glaring harshly at the defeated smaller figures. Chopper, Robin, and Usopp were badly beaten by Oars's attacks, with Usopp barely hanging on to consciousness, shouting D. Damn you! Luffy! Huff! Cough, Usopp struggled for breath, coughing and gasping. Sanji, Zoro, Frankie, and Brook also suffered defeat, having been effortlessly overpowered by Oars. The giant spoke in a gruff voice, emphasizing that he didn't know who Luffy was and declaring, I don't know, you guys. I am Moria-sama's servant. Oars. Thriller Bark Island. Kishishishishi. Ki-ishishishishi. Cough. Cough. Moria's gleeful laughter was abruptly cut off by a fit of hacking coughs. Damn you shitty Coke. As the coughing subsided, a broad and malevolent grin spread across his face. Oars is incredibly strong. Astonishingly powerful. If I only had such a robust servant at my disposal, I would never again lose to Kaido. Even Sky Sword, I fear it no longer. Not even the world government will have any cause to look down upon me. As he remembered the condescending attitude Vice Admiral Mangaka had once displayed toward him, Moria felt a burning desire to become even more formidable. The Straw Hats have been thoroughly defeated. Kishishishishi. Where is the thick plot armor that you so proudly boast of? I see no trace of it. Chapter 425, Giant Robot Warrior. One Piece Events. Air. I'm sorry, I can't. Yeah, that can't be helped. Can you at least move a little? Just to get out of the way. Oi, oars. If that's really Luffy's shadow inside you, then you shouldn't underestimate the power of your own Nakama. Sanji, Zoro, Chopper, Usopp, Frankie, and Robin, who have previously been exposed to attack, stand ready for another group fight to defeat this beast. Grand Line. On a remote island where Oro Jackson stop up. Oh, what a stubborn crew. Every time they show this spirit, I truly look forward to seeing their future. A big smile appeared on the face of the young man, Shanks, as he watched the last scene before immediately moving on to the next chapter. I see that Sanji and Zoro are strong enough to be considered supernovas at this stage. I can only look forward to their future development. Zoro's fight against Ryuma was amazing enough to consider him a qualified swordsman. And Sanji's fight against that invisible guy, too. Gabon, the third deputy in the Roger Pirates, spoke softly while reading the chapter. He also focused on Sanji specifically, who remembering him by himself and his position in the Pirate King's crew. He was third in line behind the Captain Roger and the Deputy Rayleigh. What's your opinion, Roger, about those words? Oh, do you mean Chopper, Crocus? I see that you're interested in his medical abilities. Oh, I'm not interested at all, Crocus waved his hand mockingly, interrupting Roger's enthusiastic words. Ugh, Roger groaned in disappointment after being teased again by his ship's doctor. This fellow Crocus was truly a killing plague for the impatient people. Ha ha ha. Rouge couldn't hold back her laughter after seeing Roger's disappointed face. Since boarding this ship, she was enjoying it to the fullest from the depths of her heart. She truly realized why Roger refused to leave such a life behind and stay with her. It was fun. Well, let's ignore Crocus. What did Chopper say to Hogback? He deserves to be addressed and understood properly. When the captain started speaking seriously, the crew members also listened attentively. The humanity present in an animal who eat a human devil fruit amazed me especially. The speaking animal taught a brilliant human doctor the true human values. This is not a joke. Even a zombie without a soul was moved by Chopper's words to the point of tears. Whether it was intended or not, in that moment, Rob gave us a tough lesson as humans. Roger concluded his speech while sipping his favorite wine. We humans can also choose to be lower than animals, no matter how good our talents are, Roger added. That's reasonable as well, Crocus smiled after understanding what his captain had said. Being a doctor himself, he was the person here who understood the words of the animal doctor, Chopper, the best. Day by day, his admiration for this kind and speaking animal doctor grew. This is the scoundrel Hogback. People like him deserve to disappear from this world, Roger declared. O'Hara. Well, what will they do against Oars now that they've regained their fighting spirit? BFT. Ha 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 ha. Seriously. Ha 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 ha. The hell? What will they do? Ha 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 ha. Even Sanji and Zoro joined in on this madness. Dirishishishishishi Robin's reaction is highly amusing. Yahohoho Robin-san looks extremely overwhelmed by this spectacle. Laughter and cheer returned to the art store once again, this time due to the mad show of the crew members forming what is known as the Giant Robot Warrior. Nulu. Damn you, Straw Hat. Have a taste of our combined strength. Frankie ran towards the rest of the crew to inform them of his next move. You guys. Tactics 15. Chopper and Usopp were shocked after hearing this. That? We're using that. Frankie called out to Zoro and Sanji to get ready as well. Zoro. Swirly guy. Stand by. Zoro, what? Frankie continued before jumping in front of them. Support my legs. Sanji, Zoro, what? Pirates docking 6. Giant Robot Warrior. Big Emperor. After the 5 of them combined, Chopper was surprised to see Robin standing to the side, looking at them in shock. Wait a second, Frankie. The left arm isn't docked yet. Frankie was shocked. What? Hey! Nico Robin, what are you doing? Doc with the left arm. Chopper, hurry. Usopp, come on, Robin. Do it just like me. But what Robin said next shocked the trio of Usopp, Frankie, and Chopper. As a person, I'm embarrassed. Suddenly, Oars, who was annoyed by their incomplete docking, came running over. Why did you stop? It seemed like he was deeply involved in watching their docking, just like the real Luffy. Sanji, who was carrying Frankie's left leg, was shocked. Why is he shocked, too? Oars attacked, angry, causing their incomplete docking to be destroyed. Come on. Docking. I was getting all excited. Ugh. Zoro ran away, embarrassed by the previous scene. How dumb. Why did I let them do that? No. Let's just forget it. Behind Robin, the bodies of Chopper, Frankie, and Usopp, who expressed their disappointment in Robin, were lying on the ground. Chopper, if only you were there, Robin. We could have become the robot warrior, Big Emperor. Frankie, I never saw this betrayal coming. Usopp, Luffy would have done it. Robin appeared to still be affected by the previous scene. Please. Never mention docking again. Ha ha ha. What a fools. This crew is filled with fools, only Robin-chan is my wise one. Alvia bragged about Robin once again in front of and within the earshot of Rob's other women, among whom was Belmere, who hastened to add her daughter to the list as well. Robin-chan is wise indeed, but my little Nami is wise too. Humph. Ha ha. Really? Do you remember when Robin joined the crew easily after she bought her for a small amount of money? Well, I admit that money is Nami's weak point, but remember that Robin's weak point is her love for poneglyphs. She could become irrational for the chance to read one. But seriously, if I were in Robin's place and someone asked me to do something ridiculous like that, I'd burn them to ashes. Chapter 426, Bartholomew Kuma appears. Sorbet Kingdom. They have managed in turning this giant colossus upside down. This is something amazing. Imperio Ivankov was shocked as he looked at the manga page that showed Zoro and others defeating Oars. How in the world did Frankie make a wooden ramp to hit Oars' mouth without any basis to support it? This makes no sense. And fufufu, for a moment I thought that this little pervert ate some sort of devil fruit. Namazu in a wedding dress looks so cute to the extreme. She is Nami, not Namazu, you big-faced weird guy. Little Bonnie was highly annoyed when Imperio Ivankov referred to Nami as Namazu and treated her as a man. Oh Bonnie-chan, this is harsh or something dash. Ivankov wanted to take the opportunity to get close to the little girl who had a devil fruit that was similar to his devil fruit, but he was shocked by the next scene that appeared in the manga. Similarly, the rest of the Revolutionary Army, Dragon, Crocodile, Kuma and his daughter were all shocked by the appearance of an unexpected person in this arc. Why did you appear in this arc? They all looked at Kuma in surprise. One Piece events. Before that, the treasure room. I checked the location beforehand. After Absalom was struck by lightning and Nami escaped with the help of the zombie Lola, Nami decided to first search for the treasure. I've been through so much that I can't just go back empty-handed. Here it is. And it's unlocked. Unfortunately, the treasure room was completely empty. Returning to the spider web where Thousand Sunny was anchored, the enthusiastic zombies were transporting the treasures and food to the ship at the command of Perona, who had regained her consciousness and decided to escape from Thriller Bark, which she believed would be destroyed under the footsteps of Oars, who was out of control of her master, Moria. Get that stuff landed. Hurry. Lady Perona, the freezer is already full. There's a supply room, isn't there? Get the treasure loaded quickly too. Don't leave any behind. Perona watched the situation in the center of Thriller Bark with caution. I mean, I was only here with Moria for fun. I'm not staying if my life is really in danger. Quickly, you guys. We're getting out of here without delay. The zombies answered with enthusiasm, yes. Suddenly, the zombies were shocked to see a massive bear blocking the road. What's that? You're not a zombie? What are you doing here, you bear-looking bastard? A bear, huh? How blunt. The man who looked like a bear replied with a low voice. I'm here to see Moria. Is he here? Thus, it was revealed that he was another Shichibukai, Bartholomew Kuma. Bartholomew Kuma appearing was a surprising thing. Even Kuma himself feels shocked with a stern look under his glasses. Oh, it seems you've gotten an extra screen time, said little Bonnie hugging her father's neck and spoke passionately. Being a Shichibukai in the manga, your appearance in the battle with Luffy and Moria is not a good sign. Dragon spoke without emotion on his face. He added, perhaps this arc will reveal more about your mysterious background in the manga. I wonder if you were a revolutionary even in the manga. That would be intriguing, Crocodile cut in, voicing his opinion. Yes, I look forward to it, replied Dragon. Ohara. Bartholomew Kuma. Strange. I wonder what brought him here. Vegapunk pondered deeply. After all, Bartholomew Kuma's background was something exceptional. In reality, Kuma represented the Sorbet Kingdom and the South Blue as its ruler, but secretly he was a new member of the Revolutionary Army, just like him. However, in the manga, Kuma represents the world government as a Shichibukai, and he earns the title the Tyrant because he was once a pirate who had already abandoned his kingdom. Therefore, his background is considered extremely exceptional for manga readers and those interested in global affairs. This book in his hand, the Bible, I presume it's the sacred book, right? Clover asked. Kuma is not religious to that extent, it's just a cover. That book contains a map of the world. He carries it as a support for one of his devil fruit powers, Vegapunk replied in a soft voice, surprising both Brook and Clover. How do you know that? Brook asked. Oh, simple, I was born in Karakuri Island, but my parents were from the Sorbet Kingdom. They worshipped the kingdom of knowledge, so when I became a young man at 15 years old, I decided to go to that kingdom. There I met the late king, Kuma's father, and I lived with Kuma who was just born, for a few years. I was the one who helped him draw and modify that map in that book when he was just a little child. The listeners' eyes widened. They did not expect that Kuma and Vegapunk were very old acquaintances, even before the Revolutionary Army brought them together. This was extremely interesting. Thriller Bark Island. This girl is annoying me. Does she want to escape from her captain because of such foolishness? Gecko Moria was angry with Perona's actions. He did not blame her in her loss from Usopp, but he certainly wouldn't allow treachery. Treachery was a serious crime that deserved death. Damn it. I was planning to searching for you and make you my nakama, but it seems you don't deserve that, humph. It's clear the level of fear that Usopp instilled in Perona in that battle since she chose to immediately flee once she regained her senses. This is what Moria believed and all readers as well. Bartholomew Kuma? The hell? What is an other Shichibukai doing on my land? Chapter 427, New Shichibukai. Bastard, where have you sent Perona? Moria grumbled. Despite his disapproval of her cowardice, she was still a member of his crew. Upon seeing Kuma asking her what destination she preferred and later disappearing with a touch, Moria deduced that it must be one of Kuma's abilities. Is that it then? He came just to inform me about a new Shichibukai? Moria thought to himself. After reading the chapter in which he encountered Bartholomew Kuma, Moria was left feeling slightly bewildered. Blackbeard, teach, becoming a Shichibukai in the manga? Unbelievable. What about his fight with Ace? Contrary to Moria in the manga who was unaware of Blackbeard, Moria in reality was well acquainted with the notorious pirate. In this day and age, who is unaware of Blackbeard? He was depicted as an evil character in the manga, despised by all who wished to see him dismembered. However, prior to his battle with Ace, he was held in high regard due to his famous quote, "People's dreams are endless." Did Ace truly lose? Moria wondered. One Piece events. After the imprisonment of Shichibukai Crocodile, his successor was already decided. After meeting with Moria, Kuma got to the heart of the matter. Moria's response. He, so you're here to tell me who's the next one up? So who is it anyway? There are so freaking many pirates anyways. Kuma responded simply. The successor's name is Marshall D. Teach, also known as Blackbeard. Right now the news is already flogging the world. Only your fogged uplands still hasn't received the news. Moria expressed his ignorance of the identity of the new Shichibukai. Blackbeard? Never heard of him. What is his bounty? Kuma answered. He's the one who escaped from Whitebeard. When he joined, he demonstrated his power. His bounty is 0. I see, so it's unknown, right? The world government is really accommodating. Kishishishi. What? He's here because he's afraid of another Shichibukai falling at the hands of the Straw Hat Pirates, Moria exclaimed with a mixture of disbelief and anger, his expression mirroring that of his manga counterpart. Bastard! Does he really think I'm just like that crocodile? Moria added, his teeth tightly clenched in fury. Damn it, Bartholomew Kuma, Moria cursed, his wrath directed at Kuma. But then, Moria's expression changed as his eyes lit up with excitement upon discovering that he could control the massive oars from within the control room located in its belly. Oh? I can fight using oars that way too? Terrific, Moria exclaimed with newfound enthusiasm, eager to claim the body of oars for himself. Sorbet Kingdom. If you go on a trip, where would you like to go? BFT. Ha 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 ha. What a great line you use, Dad. Little Bonnie was one of the most knowledgeable about her father's abilities, but even so, she found his question to others before sending them where they wanted very funny. Kuma responded with a shrug, absorbed in the manga in front of him. And Fufufu, it looks like they filled in for your place quickly, Crocoboy, Ivankov teased. Let me guess, you've been taken to Impel Down. Ha ha ha. The young crocodile's forehead veins bulged as he was taken aback by the mockery. Do you want to lose water inside your body after losing your manhood? Who said I lost my manhood, Crocoboy? He retorted. I don't know what Moria means by saying that you are the most obedient Shichibukai to the world government orders. Are you hiding something from us, Kuma? Dragon asked with suspicion. At the mention of the world government, Kuma's mood soured. However, he quickly regained his composure and pushed aside the negative memories associated with that organization. Blackbeard, Marshall D. Teach. Hasn't this guy been in a grinding fight with Luffy's brother, Ace? Did Ace lose the battle? Kuma's refusal to provide an explanation prompted Dragon to switch the topic to another pressing matter. In the vicinity of Oro Jackson. Has Ace lost the battle? Roger queried as he perused the recent news regarding Blackbeard's sudden appointment as a Shichibukai. Could it be that he has surrendered our son to the world government in exchange for the Shichibukai position, in order to shield himself from the wrath of Whitebeard? Rouge's voice wavered as she attempted to conceal her increasing apprehension. That's very possible, Roger concurred. At this point, anything is possible. However, I don't believe he would go as far as to surrender our son just for the sake of protection from Newgate. Maybe. Perhaps, the downfall of the last giant of the old generation will be at the hands of their own offspring. The words spoken by the redhead earlier will not be in vain, otherwise, how will the story unfold? In the New World, on Manga Island. Teach, once again. It appears that Ace has suffered defeat in battle. Sigh, this outcome was predictable, Whitebeard sighed in disappointment as he finished reading the latest chapter of the manga. Oyaji, do you believe that Teach in the manga is plotting to utilize the government's forces against us? Marco queried. It's hard to say. But what of Teach himself? Don't tell me he has met his end? No, Oyaji. I made sure to heal his injuries earlier today too. He has fully recovered, but is it worth it? For now, it seems that his death is not necessary. Within the walls of Moby Dick prison. Zihahaha. Teach let out a chilling laugh, leaving it unclear whether his madness had taken hold during his imprisonment or if it was due to the events unfolding in the manga he held in his hands. Just wait, everyone. I will make all of you pay dearly for this debt. With those words, the sea stone handcuffs that had restrained him for over a month shattered as if they were mere iron chains exposed to the scorching desert sun. Teach gazed upon his freed hands and legs with an evil grin, before rising to his feet and making his way out of the cell. Chapter 428, Nightmare Luffy. The Stupor of Garp and Sengoku. At the art store, O'Hara. Yo ho ho. I've become a sword of lightning. I managed to sever Orz's shoulder. Oh, he completely squashed me. Brook's spirits plummeted after witnessing the powerful kick that not only crushed him but also the building he was trapped in. It's okay, you did a great job, Brook-san. Alvia arrived, offering drinks to Brook before flashing a smile. Thank you for your kind words, Olivia-san. Alvia is right, the story has become much more enjoyable since you joined, Brookyo. Yahohoho dash. You're just flattering me, Clover-san. PFT. 100 shadows. Can an ordinary human body withstand all these shadows and not go insane? This is dangerous. Vegapunk's long tongue was shaped not by the severity of the shock after seeing Lola and her group of pirates instill numerous shadows in Luffy. Nightmare Luffy. Is this the result of it all? No. Why is Robin so unlucky? Moria has stolen her shadow. Alvia's expression soured after hearing the reader's comments. She retrieved her volume and soon discovered what had transpired. This is terrible. Sanji saved her from certain death. Oh no. Sanji, Chopper, and Zoro have fallen as well. Nami and Usopp are in peril. What is this? Rosinante, Doflamingo, and Enel's eyes widened as they beheld the colossal figure who saved Nami and Usopp from being crushed beneath Orz's foot. It's truly Luffy. In this way, the nightmare title befits him, Fufu. Marineford. How could this be possible? How could this colossal zombie stretch his limbs like Luffy? Garp was dumbfounded as he watched Orz extend his hand, nearly crushing Luffy's crew. Sengoku, on the other hand, wore a wise smile, and he remarked, the shadow fruit cannot copy the devil fruit abilities of its owner. Perhaps there is some trickery at play here. Oh, look! Just as I anticipated. Moria appeared in the control room inside Orz's stomach and revealed how easy it was to control the Orz body by changing the shape of the shadow and temporarily loosening the joints to make the limbs stretch naturally. That fiend Moria again. When will Luffy finally defeat his ass? Garp couldn't bear to look at Moria's face any longer. His anger only grew after learning of Ace's defeat at the hands of Blackbeard, who had traded him to the world government for a position as a Shichibukai. Sengoku, who had another top-secret identity known only to Garp, Tsuru, and Zephyr, confirmed this fact. If Sengoku said it, it was almost certain to happen. Many of his hypotheses had already come true, as he was the owner of the most powerful hypothesis of One Piece in the World Forum. He is the famous Odaki himself. Don't be too angry, Garp. Moria's defeat is just a matter of time. But what is this? Sengoku's eyes widened as he witnessed Luffy's new form after absorbing 100 shadows. Even he, the one who always came up with hypotheses that were 90% correct, hadn't foreseen this. Is that Luffy? Garp was equally shocked. I believe it's the nightmare. How aptly named. Tsuru was equally amazed. It seems that the events in the manga have finally reached a suspenseful point, haven't they? Zephyr suddenly entered the office of the Fleet Admiral, where he enjoyed reading manga. One Piece events. Everyone watched in awe as Nightmare Luffy delivered a devastating blow to Orz, sending the giant crashing down to the ground. He's filing down. Be careful. After being severely beaten by Nightmare Luffy, Orz's huge body fell down. Orz, you ah! The forest pirates led by Lola watched the scene of the Orz crashing on the building in amazement, speechless. Captain Lola! Look! Straw Hat is. One of them, however, noticed something else. Straw Hat's body was rapidly being engulfed by shadows. Nami and Usopp also noticed this strange phenomenon. It's true. The shadows! Nami exclaimed. Usopp added, look at all of them. They're what made Luffy look like that. Luffy. The shadow swirled around Luffy's body like a tide, until finally, his body returned to normal. Phew. Uoa. Ahawk, he cried out. The shadows then dissipated, returning to their owners. Nami and Usopp rushed to Luffy's side. Are you okay, Luffy? Usopp asked. Lolo looked on in disbelief. He did it. He really won. Oars and Moria have been defeated. Everyone's shadows are coming back. The air was filled with joyous cheers from the forest pirates. You did it, our ray of hope. Thank you. The battle was over, and Thriller Bark was no more. Wow, this is really unexpected, Sengoku sighed. With this level of strength, even a vice admiral would have to retreat temporarily, he remarked. But Suru hesitated. Despite the severe beating Luffy received during the fight with Moria, I don't think he has lost yet, she offered his opinion. Sengoku nodded in agreement and added, this young man is full of surprises. Wahahaha. Look at Moria's face, they heard someone laughing. Ha ha ha. Luffy was a little violent. Garp joined in. This is my grandson, his proud voice chimed in. It doesn't matter, if he doesn't lose now, he will lose later, Sengoku spoke again. The scene shifted to Thriller Bark, where Moria was staring at his bloody face in the manga with bloodshot eyes. How weak is this, how pathetic is it for others to use my power against me, he muttered to himself. Moria formed his hand into a fist before hitting the table hard. Damn you! Mujiwara, he exclaimed, seething with hatred for Luffy and his crew. The severe pain coming from his hand only fueled his animosity towards them. Chapter 429, Oars Fall. One Piece Events. Alright, everyone, here we go, exclaimed Luffy. With oars temporarily parked, the crew was able to regain control and work together in a display of amazing teamwork. The forest pirates, who were observing from a distance, were left staring in disbelief. What in the world are they doing? What the? Questioned one of the onlookers. The human spine is bent in an S shape in order to soften blows and shoulder weight. As Chopper began to explain the significance of their collective actions, it became clear that their goal was to take down Oars, who was bound by the giant chains of the island-sized ship. The human spine, as Chopper elaborated, is naturally curved in an S shape, which serves to cushion impacts and distribute weight. However, by straightening the spine out completely, as the crew had done, there was nowhere for the force of an attack to shift, and the full impact would be felt by the individual. Nami, go for it, Luffy. Brook, good luck. Nami encouraged Luffy to continue with his plan, while Brook wished him good luck. From a high altitude, Luffy finally unleashed Gear 3, tapping into all of his strength. Take this supersized bazooka! He exclaimed, as he prepared to strike back at Oars with everything he had. Gomu Gomu no! Gigant Bazooka! With a deafening roar, Luffy's attack struck Oars' upright head, completely destroying his spine and leaving him unable to move ever again. It was a stunning victory, made possible by the crew's unwavering teamwork and determination. Elbaf, the Island of Giants. The sound of joyous laughter filled the air, Bojajajaja. Followed by a comment, this damn devil received what he deserved. It was evident that the former leader of the giant warrior pirates, who was now the sage of the rebuilt village of giants, had finally overcome the shock caused by the appearance of Oars' corpse in the manga. It was obvious that the energetic mood had returned to the villagers after seeing that in the manga. However, Gerald, the village sage, had shared a story about the ancient giant Oars, which would remain in their memory forever. Who would have imagined that this ancient giant was so terrifying when he was alive? He almost drove our race to extinction in the War of the Giants that you told us about, said Stanson casually. Wars and battles were ordinary things for giants, and thus Stanson and the other young giants seemed unaffected by the story. The new leader of giant warrior pirates, Hadrutin, expressed his doubt about the terrifying nature of Oars. Digga gaga. But look at him in the manga. It doesn't look like what you're describing, village sage. Look how Luffy and his buddies crippled him forever. Don't judge the book by its cover. The corpse ores and the living ores are two completely different things. If it was the living ores who got up from his grave, that island-sized ship wouldn't have been able to withstand even a slight movement of his foot and would sink into the Devil's Sea forever. However, Gerald explained that the corpse of ores and the living ores were two completely different things. I didn't expect that such a being would die of cold. The vanity of ancient giants is the only thing that can kill them. Boja Jajaja. He died because he didn't wear winter clothes to prevent the bitter cold in the land of ice. Boja Jajaja. Gerald laughed again to the point of tears when he recalled the cause of Or's death revealed by Chopper. This manga is a precious sacred book that teaches us about other people's mistakes that we should avoid making, he added. The conversation then shifted to the events happening in the manga. Now let's see how Moria, the other arrogant beside Oars, will fall, someone exclaimed. Another villager responded, Shadow Asgard. What is this move? Is he restoring all the shadows he has cast from his zombies? He absorbed 1,000 shadows? Seriously. What a monster this has become. The mood in the village escalated as they talked about how Moria absorbed 1,000 shadows, and how he had become a monster. The near end of the manga added to the excitement of the giants, and the village was buzzing with anticipation. Ballywood Kingdom. Inside the art store. Why have you been smiling like that for a while? Hirolek asked Kureha with a curious tone. Ihehehe, why are you also smiling? Kureha responded in the same tone. Both Kureha and Hirolek were still reading the manga volume even after Hogback was caught by the hunters of the law enforcement department. They asked each other the same question. I admire Chopper's superintelligence, who came up with the idea to break Lore's spine and prevent him from moving completely. Hirolek couldn't hide the admiration and pride in his voice and smiled. Kureha felt the same way. Isn't that expected of the little reindeer raised from us in the manga? Don't forget that we are his parents. Kureha put her hand on Hirolek's hand in an intimate gesture. Kureha, who had returned to being an extremely beautiful young woman, made Hirolek feel his heart beating hard after hearing the way Kureha called both of them parents. After all, he was also still a single young man. Maragoa. Yawn is the end of another shichibukai near? Imu yawned and put her tender hand to her mouth after reading most of the chapters of the volume, which she found boring for some reason. Well, he's very weak anyway. And it was me who thought he would be as strong as Jinwoo Fufu. Oh, Shadow Asgard? Is this your last move? A little strong, but it made you heavier. Show me how you're going to handle this, next Joy Boy. Seeing Luffy and his crew looking at Moria, who had turned into a huge ugly monster, with confident glances, made her look forward to seeing how this battle would end, especially since the sunlight was already approaching the crew members who had lost their shadows. The crew members were Luffy, Zoro, Sanji, and Robin. Interesting. In the last chapters of this volume, Imu regained the long-lost thrill. On the other side of the empty throne hall. Moria has such a powerful movement up his sleeve? Unbelievable, he just needs to fix his slow speed problem, and he will become a terrifying monster second to none on the battlefield. Yes, there is no doubt that adding him to the new Golden Shichibukai is never wrong. The five elders discussed the events of the last chapters with enthusiasm. After all, it finally seemed that this long arc was about to end. Chapter 430, The End of the Battle. One Piece Events. The forest pirates watched in horror as Moria's body began to expand, absorbing more and more shadows as he shouted his challenge to Luffy. They're all shadows. Don't tell me. He's gathering up all the shadows on the island. And feeding them all into his own body? Nami watched in amazement as a large number of shadows gathered in Moria's body, which began to become even larger. Mujiwara. The shadows you absorbed. There were about 100, were there not? Then I shall take in 200. 300. 600. 700. Kishi. Kishishishishi. 1,000. 1,000 shadows created an enormous monster, one that seemed to reach the very heavens. No way. It's all over. What is that thing? The forest pirates screamed in terror as the monstrosity loomed. But Luffy and his crew stood their ground, ready to fight even in the face of a powerful adversary. Luffy declared his intent. If it's a nightmare you want, I'll show you one. Moria. I'm not gonna play nice with you. Moria was eventually defeated, but his last words sent a chill through everyone. You rag. Mugiwara. Ugga. Then you go see for yourself what a real nightmare is. In the new world. Waya. The shadows are returning. The shadows returned, and the island of Thriller Bark was destroyed. But even after all the destruction, Luffy and his crew remained standing, victorious. Despite the sunlight coming into contact with Zoro, Sanji, and Robin, they refused to move an inch. Usopp, boy. You guys. Lola cried, shadows. Hurry. The battle was over, and the crew emerged victorious. Moria had been defeated, and the shadows returned to their rightful owners, scattered throughout the world. But is this really the end? Thriller Bark Island. Moria was devastated by his loss to Mugiwara Luffy, even after using his final move. He couldn't believe that he, the one who had once fought almost equally with Kaido, had been beaten so soundly. Damn you, Mugiwara, he exclaimed in frustration. Moria had expected to lose the battle against Luffy, as he knew that as the hero of the story, Luffy could not lose or even risk losing his life. However, he had hoped to inflict heavy losses on the future Pirate King, at least causing him to lose one of his comrades. But that didn't happen. Instead, Moria lost badly, even in front of another Shichibukai. He was humiliated and angry. Ha! There is still that tyrant Bartholomew Kuma, he thought to himself. Given the completely depleted state of Straw Hats, it is not difficult for Kuma to completely exterminate them. After seeing the orders that the world government gave to Bartholomew Kuma through Den Den Mushi, Moria's smile widened. Kishishishishi. Make me enjoy a good last show, Bartholomew Kuma. Merville Island. Jahahaha. Those pirates who just got their shadows back said that you tied up with Moria, Kaido, is that right? Kaido was incensed when he heard that pirates who had just regained their shadows claimed that he had tied up with Moria. Veins appeared on his forehead as he exclaimed, nonsense. This is complete nonsense. I started the fight with an easy position, and he matched me in strength. This is pure nonsense. He took another swig of his favorite sake before continuing, Warorororo. How could I lose to a beginner who doesn't seem to have learned hockey even after 20 years of fighting with me? A trash who only relies on the excellence of his race and his devil fruit to bully the weak in Paradis will not be able to achieve anything on this sea. What was his dream again? The Pirate King. Heh, warorororo. Jayahahaha. You are cruel even in your words, partner. Shiki laughed along with Kaido and commented on the events of the volume, as they reached the final stages. Urura Island. Underneath the Shiki stronghold lies the Kaido stronghold. Rob's paper clone reappeared on it, and he strolled towards little Yamato's place with a sweet smile on his face. Even from a distance, he noticed the worried expression on little Yamato's face. Upon arriving, he sat down beside her on the couch he had made for her earlier. What is bothering you, Yamato-chan? Rob inquired while softly patting her head. Little Yamato, with teary big eyes and a melancholic look, showed Rob a manga page. Why did another villain appear after the crew worked so hard to defeat Moria, she asked. Bartholomew Kuma, Pirate Hunter Zoro, let's start with you. The page read. Rob smiled after reading it. It seems Kuma's debut has begun. Don't worry too much, Yamato-chan. Everything will be alright. Now, let's head back home. Elysia Kingdom. My child, why are you crying again? Father Victor asked as he embraced his daughter Sindri for the 100th time to console her. But this time, Victoria Cindy shook her head slightly, indicating that she wasn't crying because of sadness. I'm happy, Dad. Margarita has finally regained her shadow, freeing my body from the misery it was experiencing in the manga, she explained. Although she was already crying, this time her tears were of joy. The downfall of Moria and the return of the shadow that was moving her corpse to its original owner's shadow filled her with delight. She had unwavering faith in Chopper and his companions, who never failed to disappoint her. Hearing this made both father and mother laugh merrily, and the nightmare was finally over. Ilka Kingdom. Finally, Jigoro grinned as he saw his lifeless body without any shadow propelling it. Well, it's much better to see myself dead than to be a moving corpse in a manga. After all, death is the ultimate fate of all living beings. In another town. You finally woke up, you bastard. In another art store in West Blue, the young Absalom glared at the manga page depicting Hogback awakening his future self after being defeated with malevolent eyes. Who would want to witness their defeat so profoundly, particularly if they thought themselves invincible? Can you still do something to avenge our loss, Hogback? That wraps up this part of What If Becoming a Mangaka in One Piece World. Thanks so much for listening. As always, new parts drop every 4 days, so be sure to stay tuned. Quick reminder. The series What If Ichigo awoke his true powers to save his mother is now on hold, since we've caught up with the author. So now, I need your help picking the next project for the channel. I'm currently deciding between these 3 fanfics. What if Transmigrated into a nightmare mode Dragon Ball world? What if Reborn in Highschool DxD as a Lucifuge? What if Fishing System in Food Wars world? Please vote in the poll and let me know which story you'd like to see next. I'll take the top pick and start working on that series next. Also check out my Patreon channel for early releases of all the series, where you can find all the series released one day ahead of YouTube. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, share it with your friends, and please consider supporting the original author as well. See you in the next one.